what I try to tell young coaches is I think you have to put it in the rearview mirror really quickly. If it was a bad ending or if it was the best ending that you can have, that once that's there, 48 hours or so, and then you got to be focused on the next deal because that doesn't matter. It's done. Yeah. And the ability to put whether it's success or failure quickly behind you and then get focused on that next, in this case, that next team, and get your vision there. I think, however, just recognizing that and being able to develop that ability is critical to being able. Otherwise, you either dwell on a success too long or dwell on a failure too long.
All right, welcome to Let It Fly show. I am Michael Severe. That man is Josh Jones of Creighton and, of course, Central High School, where I now have 2 kids at Central High School.
They had the best high school in America.
You know, the air condition doesn't work. The bathrooms aren't very nice. But other than that, it's pretty nice. It's not bad at all. Like the air condition doesn't work in here very well. Again, this is going to be a fun show because we got a couple really good guests, and we'll get to that. But first, we want to remind you, we're like 8 days away.
8 days, man.
8 days away from the opening of the Let It Fly Sports Bar in the Capital District. It's going to be amazing. I've seen some videos, some pictures over the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
The way it's coming together, it looks like it's going to be done.
Yeah, people are like, I don't know if they sneaking in or what.
Yeah.
People text me like, man, it's crazy in here. I'm like, how did you get in there?
Yeah.
You know, it's not that it's a secret, but people working.
It's like they're working 24 hours a day, the whole time to get it done. Again, go to the website, letitflysportsbar.com, and you can find a great deal there. $100 get you $125 in gift certificates so you can buy the great food, the great drinks, and everything else at Let It Fly Sports Bar. It's going to really be amazing. It's going to be one of the best sports bars you've ever seen, whether it is sight lines, how many TVs they have, the food. We talked to the chef, how good the chef is. So you're going to have a good time. So make sure you make it out there. Again, the beginning of the College World Series. So that is June 16th. June 16th is opening day. So we'll be there as well. And as always, Omaha Steaks, a great way to make somebody happy. Father's Day's coming up.
Yep.
You know, Dad's sitting there, don't want another tie.
Yep.
He don't want no more socks. You know what he would like? Steaks.
Amen.
A Father's Day special.
I know I do.
From Omaha Steaks, man. I'd be set up. I'd be pretty happy with that. No doubt about that if I get that. So we're going to have former head basketball coach at Bellevue West will join us, Doug Woodard, who retired after coaching 4 decades.
Yeah, right.
That is crazy. Ridiculous.
When you coach your grandson, it's time to retire.
Yes, it is. It is. Yes, that is right. He's got like almost 700 wins.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Of course, and he went out on top.
Yeah.
When you can go on top with the state championship.
Of modern day coaches, sometimes when I think about guys like Coach Woodard, think about guys like Coach Behrens.
Yeah.
Like, what's the top 5?
Well, we were going through this. Damon and I were chatting about this a couple of weeks ago. And with all the stuff, I think 7 titles is how much Coach Woodard has between being at Bellevue West and then also being he was at Omaha Christian or something like that. So he's won those amount of titles. But then you look at guys like Fred Petito at Millard North with all his titles.
Yeah.
Larry Martin at Omaha North.
Right.
You mentioned Coach Behrens at Central.
Right.
I mean, it's a pretty good list, but I think that's kind of the top of your list.
Yeah, right. I can't think of a lot on top of my head like that.
Yeah.
I think I bring that up to say that, like, I'm not trying to be biased about Coach Behrens. I think Coach Woodard is, like, if not the greatest.
Yeah.
At least
he's pretty close.
1A, 1B.
He's pretty close, and it's gonna
especially in basketball.
Yeah, the way he has coached teams and the way he has turned around teams, and then he's had like a second life too.
Right.
So we'll talk to him more about that, of course. And also Hunter Sallis will join us on the show.
Yeah, that's gonna be
now
sweet.
Wake Forest Demon Deacon.
Right.
After 2 years at Gonzaga, he got in the portal, found the home where he wanted to be.
Right.
We'll chat with him as well. Before the big news today, we're taping on Thursday. The schedule is out for 24 and 25 for the Big Ten with the addition of USC and UCLA, which is a big deal, obviously.
What's your take on it?
Well, there's a couple things. One, that first year in 24, Nebraska's got the 2 longest trips for their road games. So they go out to UCLA and they go to Penn State.
I mean, in the way that has been looking like in the past for Nebraska, just that's another excuse to add 2 more L's to the roster. No, I was just playing, bro.
There is no harder place to get to.
Yeah.
besides going to Hawaii, than Penn State. There's no flying into Happy Valley.
Right.
You can go to Pittsburgh, you can go to D.C., you can go to Harrisburg, you can go to Philadelphia, and then you drive there.
Right.
And so that's a tough trip. Now, of course, they charter and do that kind of stuff, but it's still not easy.
Yeah.
And then you leave here when we're a little west of the teams in the Big Ten. You got to go all the way out to L.A. So the road games in 24 for Nebraska are Iowa, which is their main rival again, Northwestern, Penn State, Purdue, and UCLA.
Yeah.
That's your road game. So, again, 2 long trips.
So good for the conference, though, man.
It's going to be awesome.
Just what you're
it's going to be awesome.
Is like,
it's going to be awesome. Then you have the home games are Indiana, Michigan State, Minnesota, and Wisconsin.
Right.
The big thing about 25 is a team that Nebraska's played every year going back a while in Wisconsin. They do not play them in 25. Wisconsin falls off the schedule because you no longer will have the East and the West. And that's not their rival. The rival is going to be Iowa. So they get road games at Maryland, which is a pretty good trip, Minnesota, Ohio State, and USC.
Dang.
That's some tough road games, Ohio State and USC.
Right.
And then your home is Illinois, Iowa, Michigan, Rutgers, and UCLA.
Man.
That's your road.
Now.
Your home, excuse me.
With everything you just said, I'm excited just because I feel like if you're really trying to rebuild, why not rebuild with something elite like that?
Oh yeah, it is.
What a conference!
It's a huge addition.
Yeah, for
adding
sure.
those teams.
Right.
So it's a flex protect model. Is the one they picked.
Ratings are going to go crazy.
That's why they're getting paid all they're getting paid for it.
God.
11 annual protected games. While every conference pairing will be guaranteed twice in 4 years in home and away. So you'll play everybody.
Right.
You may not go to their place to play them, but you're going to play everybody to make sure they got that done. That's something they wanted to get done.
Right.
Plus, I mentioned you get the rival, right? That's Iowa for Nebraska.
Yep.
Plus, you get 2 protected games. It's Minnesota and UCLA for Nebraska. Those are the 2 for 24 and 25. And then you'll have some rotations that goes along. But I think keeping the Iowa rivalry was important.
For sure.
Obviously, the distance is 5 hours away.
Yeah, but deeper than that. It's the Nebraska versus Iowa.
Sure.
Connotation of the
state line thing.
The state line thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go to that the bridge downtown. There's a little state line of
on the
Iowa
Bob.
and Nebraska.
Yep.
Yeah, so like I mean, I'm for it. I can't wait.
The thing about Iowa, and we were discussing this when Nebraska joined the Big Ten back in going into 2011.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to be the rival? Who's going to be the rival? And I said the reason why it's Iowa because your neighbor could have an Iowa flag.
Yes.
Your neighbor's probably not going to have an Ohio State flag or Wisconsin flag. There's a good chance that they either were from Iowa, know somebody who went to Iowa, Iowa State,
My
something.
basketball coach that recruited me, Coach Darren DeVries, that's at Drake.
Yeah.
He's from Iowa.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Iowa used to play on TV. He used to cheer for him and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, man, it's you know.
But I'm glad they finally got the schedule out, so and it'll also allow people to kind of think about their plans and trips.
Yeah.
You get to go out to the Rose Bowl, which is going to be awesome. You get to go and play. USC's going to come here, but still, it's going to be a fun schedule. And I'm glad they got it in because a lot of people were waiting for it. You have some nice non-conference games for Nebraska. They got a Cincinnati game that they play in there.
Yep.
So it's going to come together. It's going to come together. It's going to be fun.
Man.
We're going to take a break. We come back. We will be joined by the former, I'd say, point guard, two guard, combo guard, and current Wake Forest guard, Hunter Sallis, will join us next on Let It Fly Show. All right, welcome back to Let It Fly Show, joined now by former Millard North star and now Wake Forest Demon Deacon star, Hunter Sallis, joining us here on Let It Fly Show. How's it feel, man? I mean, you played for one team for a while. How does it feel to be now associated with this ACC team?
I mean, man, it feels good. Going into being at Wake Forest, new scenery, new conference. I'm just excited.
Yeah.
It's a lot of new things that I'm ready for. So I can't wait to get down there and get with the guys.
Hey, it's a lot of HBCUs down there, right?
Yeah.
How close to the campus to Wake Forest is the HBCUs?
I don't know exactly how close is like the HBCUs, but I know like Duke is like right down the street.
Oh, that's dope.
We got Winston-Salem University, which is an HB. That's right there in town.
Okay.
That's really close to you guys. Yeah. So you're right.
I know like NC State.
Yeah.
North Carolina. They're like all on the
triangle.
Same road. Yeah. So it's like it's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great basketball area.
Yeah.
It's also one of the smallest Power 5 schools in the country. Did that any impact at all in you making your decisions? Because it's smaller class sizes. It's a smaller school. Any impact at all?
Nah, I wouldn't say really. What really caused my decision, I would say, was just opportunity.
Playing opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. Like this year, I know I'm really trying to get on the floor and show everybody what I should have been doing these past 2 years. So that's really what I'm looking forward to doing.
No doubt. I want to dive back to the beginning.
Yep.
For a lot of people who don't know your journey or whatever, to who you are today versus where you were, kind of dwell on when you was a kid coming up and like the aspirations of you want to be on the path you are now versus where your talent actually was.
Right. Well, I just say starting like all the way back, let's say like AAU as a kid. I played on the same team with like Chucky, a lot of those guys in the Metro, like Chucky, Jaron Marshall, like a lot of those guys. And I would say, I mean, we all played on the same middle school team, and I would say I was up there, but I wasn't always like the best out of all of them. So I would say that kind of pushed me to start working harder. And then getting up to high school, I had a growth spurt, started getting athletic.
How many inches?
I say 8th grade, I was about 5'9". Freshman year, I kind of jumped to like 6'2". Then let's say like sophomore year, I jumped to like 6'4".
Damn, I'm still waiting on that growth spurt, personally. So, but you could say you were a late bloomer a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. And I say that kind of helped with my development also, you know, just being able to fill out my body. And then just getting with the right guys. I started working with my trainer, Ryan Foster, and he kind of gave me like the tools that I really needed that kind of shaped into like my game now. So
for sure.
I always describe people's life kind of in a Wikipedia form. So if that first paragraph is about your time at Gonzaga, how would you write it? What would you say about it? How will you remember it?
I would say it was a big learning opportunity for me at Gonzaga. I had to figure out how to play with like good guys, adapt to a role, you know, basically figure out. It was kind of like, you know how in the NBA, you know, you have guys that like vets. You got vets that you got to learn how to play with as a young guy for sure. So I feel like that was kind of what I had to do as a freshman going into Gonzaga. Like just figure out how I'm going to get on the floor. And what really got me on the floor is my defense.
How was it for you? Like once you was a McDonald's All-American during COVID, bro.
Yeah.
So you didn't really get the real experience of a McDonald's All-American. How much of that psychological for you was it? Like you at Gonzaga, you doing your thing, you thinking about like the accolades of you kind of coming up. You know your own potential versus like playing at Gonzaga. How much did like the momentum from high school either frustrate you more or keep you at bay of knowing like you need to eventually make a move?
Well, I would just say right when I got to Gonzaga, it was kind of like all the high school stuff kind of flew out the window.
For sure.
Because, I mean, they basically they kind of made that a big thing too. Like wherever you guys were doing in high school, that doesn't even matter anymore. They kind of said that me, Nolan, Chet, the whole recruiting class, they basically, that's what they were telling us.
It's like some major pain stuff, bro. They tweaking.
Yeah. So it was, I mean, it was good, but I mean, I had to adjust quick. And I mean, a lot of I know it didn't go as I wanted to, but it was something that I really needed for sure.
Yeah.
And it really made me dive deep into who I am. And it kind of helped me. And I feel like it'll help me a lot this next year.
Hunter Sallis joining us here on the Let It Fly show. Do you ever go to Mark Few or the coaching staff and say, hey, I want to play more? I need more minutes? Is that something you do?
Me personally, I never did that. Okay. I never went to Coach Few and was like, you know, I want more minutes. But I know there was definitely like conversations like my parents had, like, why isn't he getting more minutes? You know,
your mom's not that kind of person that she wouldn't be like,
But I mean, like, definitely just trying to see like what's going on because I mean, thing with my dad know I'm a quiet kid. I won't even say anything.
It's not
like,
you to go.
Yeah,
to coach.
It's not me to just go to the coach and be like, Coach, come on, man. Like I need some minutes type. Yeah. So I mean, he knew that, so he kind of took it into his hands and like kind of try to get an understanding like where he was coming from. And then I say my second year, it was more like I was splitting time. Like I got moved to a different position because my first year I wasn't playing point guard. So then my second year I had moved to a point guard and I became like our backup point guard. So it'll be different games. Like some games where I'm playing a whole bunch, some games where I'm barely playing. So that wasn't really what I needed, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so you basically saying that like if the coach set the bar here, you just keep trying to put the work in until you hit where you think you need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of made you better in a sense.
That's what I'm saying. And I mean,
for sure.
That's kind of how it is in the NBA, you know, like in the NBA going into it, I mean, everybody's good. So it's not like you just handed anything type. So
how difficult was we talked to St. Thomas a couple weeks ago about that era of recruiting when you have COVID issues and restrictions, and how was that for you when you were going through that process?
I say for me, it was good. I mean, during COVID, I say workout wise, I mean, I had a gym to always be at, so that was time for me to really get better.
For sure.
And I know Saint was always with me all the time too, so that was the time we really kind of labbed up and started to improve for sure.
But was it harder recruiting? Because some of the recruiting had to be done over Zoom.
Oh, recruiting wise, recruiting wise, it was almost impossible because I couldn't go to no places and visit face to face. Yeah. I mean, everything was over the phone, Zoom.
Man, COVID tricked a lot off.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking about me. Like, I obviously wasn't high-ass recruited as you was, but I did do the college experience, though.
Right.
I did go visit the schools and all that. So I kind of feel like you was, like, cheated the experience. But, like, optimistically, I think that, like, your mindset has matured so much over the last 2 years. Like, I wish you can get those moments back, to be honest. Like,
Definitely.
You think you'd have made a different decision if you had the opportunity to go to some campuses?
I mean, I honestly couldn't tell you. I don't know what I would have done. I mean, I know Gonzaga was my only official visit, so that was the only place I really got to actually see and hang with the guys and be with the coaches and actually see the atmosphere. So I feel like that's what kind of steered me into making that decision.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows? Maybe I'd say maybe.
Before I even talk about Creighton, Nebraska, what was it about Gonzaga that made you go, ooh, like, I think I want to go there? What was it about that?
I say, I mean, I like winning for sure.
For sure.
And
they
were
won a natty.
They had made it to the championship.
They didn't win.
Yeah, they had made it to the championship. Sure. And the recruiting class, I mean, I was familiar with Chet already. I didn't really know Nolan yet, but I mean, right when I got to Gonzaga, me and him kind of clicked. So it was kind of a no-brainer at the time. You know, it just felt most comfortable other than being at home. So,
yeah, for sure.
So you decide you're going to enter the portal and you start looking around. What were some of the things you were looking for? What would you say to yourself or your parents said that you say, I want to have these things for my next – I know opportunity to play, but what else?
Basically a coaching staff or a group of people that's going to give me, like, a lot of confidence, you know, especially from where I was just at. That's what I really need going into this next year, just, you know, helping me get back to my old self, you know, my old ways and just being aggressive. So I feel like that was also part of what I needed. For sure.
So now I guess it's a segue for the hometown question.
Yeah.
Overall, what is it about, like, in-state, before your personal self, what is it about Creighton, Nebraska that, like, you feel like Creighton does way more than Nebraska, but, like, why does our talent leave, do you think? I mean, Chucky, Trelly, I mean, I can just keep going on with the top talent.
Right.
Why do you think people don't stay home?
Well, I feel like for me, I know, I mean, just growing up and watching all of these, like watching the hometown schools.
Yeah.
I just know for me, I just always wanted to just get out of here, you know.
Nothing personal.
Nothing personal.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, but then when I entered the portal, I mean, Nebraska was really high on my list, actually.
You were at the spring game. You were hanging with Coach Hurrdat. You guys like you were having a good time?
Yeah. Right. So I was actually really considering Nebraska.
Word.
And then it just came down to just opportunity, where I feel like I'd be most comfortable, and just, you know, a group of guys I feel like that believed in me the most, and that's when I made my decision.
Hunter Sallis joining us here on the Let It Fly show. So now, after having a lot of success in high school, you hear a lot of criticism. People saying that Hunter's not as good as people. He shouldn't have been a McDonald's All-American. All these people criticizing you. How do you handle that stuff?
I mean, I handle it how I handle everything. You know, I'll see it, but I just put it behind me. You know, I just got to focus on the main prize, and I feel like that's how I get there, by just focusing on what's in front of me.
Is it a chip, though?
For sure. Oh, for sure. And I mean, I feel like I got a lot of stuff to prove to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what's gonna make this story a lot better. You know, being a 5-star coming out of high school, and then, you know, having that those 2 years were just a lot didn't move for me. I feel like that's part of a good story for me.
Why you think you didn't fit at Gonzaga? I mean, you shoot the jumper, you play D. I feel like you can do everything, but I do understand as a player that systems, it's like styles make fights,
right? Systems
make players or whatever. But I mean, I seen other guys do things that you can do. Like, why didn't you fit from your perspective?
I wouldn't say that I didn't fit. I mean, I feel like it was just opportunity. I mean, you put me out there long enough, or give me enough confidence to go out there and beat me. I feel like I could do that wherever I'm at.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, it just didn't work out, and it is what it is at the end of the day. But
sure.
I mean, now all I can really focus on is Wake Forest and getting it done there.
Exactly. Well, so what do you know when you guys go in the portal, it's almost like you're doing like scouting. You're like Mel Kiper of a team. You're like, so what does Wake have? Where will I fit? How good will I be with these guys? What do you know about the team? Kind of break it down for us.
Well, I feel like also what went into my decision, I mean, they got a lot of pieces that surround me that also like will benefit me. Also, like we got a lot of shooters around me.
Yeah,
we got some big guys. Big guy from Gonzaga came with me.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Efton.
Yeah. And what about what's the point guard name? Is it like Booby?
Boopy Millard. Yep.
He's nice.
He's really good too.
I've been watching his tape.
Yeah, we got a lot of good pieces, and I feel like I love winning. So I feel like that was somewhere out of all the schools that recruited me in the transfer portal where I feel like I could be myself, but also get some wins out of it.
What about the head coach? What kind of relationship did you build with him pretty
Forbes,
quickly?
Coach Forbes, he's my guy. You know,
nice.
When I went, actually, they were one of the first schools to recruit me out of the portal, and we kind of clicked right away. You know, he has a personality. You know, he has a bright personality, and that kind of helps me because I'm like kind of a mellow guy. So he brought that side out of me early, and I felt like that's where we kind of connected.
Nice.
What type of things you working on with your own game, or is it just more so about getting your swagger back?
Well, there's some things that I'm working on for sure, but it's definitely getting my swagger back too.
Yeah.
But definitely the big thing that I've been working on is shooting off the dribble, making sure that I'm making the right reads out of the ball screen. Just basically working on my point guard skills. I feel like I'll play a lot of point guard this year for Wake Forest, and just stuff like that. You know,
like a primary point.
Point and two, like combo guard, kind of basically what I did all of high school.
Yeah,
stuff
combo
like that.
guard. Yeah, get it off the rim. Whoever got it, just feel for sure.
Yeah. One of the things I like about talking to you guys, especially when you grew up with other good players, you build a friendship, but there's a rivalry. Right. Break down that Chucky and you competition, because you went against each other in some high-profile games in high school, state championship stuff. How was that relationship?
I mean,
off the field, off the court.
Me and him go way, way back, probably all the way back to second grade. So, I mean, that's just us being competitors, you know. But, that's my dog for sure. I mean, me and him been hooping with each other since I could remember. So,
you feel like you should have two instead of one? I mean, it's over now.
I mean, you guys blew, what, a 12-point lead?
Yeah, y'all tricked that. I ain't going to
Yeah, I definitely feel like I should have two. But, I mean, They came all the way back. Yeah. They did their thing. You
don't want to make excuses, but you guys had like foul trouble. Guys got hurt. You had nobody to handle the ball at one point.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Yeah, it was.
Because you're watching on TV and you're like, oh, I've seen this before.
You ever watch it back?
Nah, I try not to. I try not to.
You watched the win back, right? When you guys won it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
For sure. Hey, you still keep in contact with Coach Cannon?
Yeah. Yep, man. He actually came to a couple games at Gonzaga.
Oh wow,
nice.
That's what's up. Yeah.
What's your best memory from that season, the championship season?
I'd definitely say that when Saint had 48.
Oh yeah,
that was the craziest
thing I've. Hey, Val, I'll be telling you. One time I had to remind him, like, "Hey, bro, remember you missed the 48, Mr. 50."
Man, that was. I feel like it was just so crazy because I've never seen nothing like that in person. Like a dude just getting that many buckets.
I'm about to say, even when I played, no, I'm playing. I'm just playing.
It's like Kobe out there.
Yeah, man, that's what it felt like. Yeah, like he was just in his zone, and you could just tell. Like after every shot going in, he over there doing his celebrations and stuff. So I mean, I love seeing him get going, and we came out with the win in the holiday tournament. So that was big.
Hey, how superficial is like? I feel like. In this new era, and Michael, you probably agree with this new era of like social media being the biggest thing when it comes to like connectivity, how much is it just like versus just being in the hooper community, seeing all these check marks and other hoopers from these different places versus them actually tapping in and being cool with you to build a relationship off of? How much of that is superficial versus real? Because you get a lot of responses on your comments.
I mean, well, There's a couple guys I'd say like within the hooper community that I'm like really close with, just from being around camps and like just knowing them from hoop. But I mean, it could get weird because there also be a lot of people who just be hitting me up for just to do it, or people that don't really know me. This was good, bro. Stuff like that. So I mean,
for people who don't know, your mom was one of the best high school players, one of the best basketball players here. When you were little, did she school you up in the
She'd tell you she did. I mean, she definitely used to beat me, but she'll tell you she beat me all the way up to 8th grade. It probably stopped around like 7th I say seventh grade. Seventh grade is when she stopped beating me.
Yeah, I mean, because she was taller than you. You know, you mentioned you had a late growth spurt, so she posts you up.
She did all of that. She used to post me up, shoot the little mid range.
Also, she showed you no mercy then.
Oh nah, my mom used to show me no mercy.
Dang.
No mercy.
Yeah, no,
that makes you better, man.
But then when I started getting older, I mean, she ain't played me no more. We ain't played since like.
Yeah, I'm tired.
I'm retired now.
Yeah, we ain't played since I've been a little kid. So
no, for sure.
Yeah. Give me your goals. What are your goals for this season?
Individual or like as a team?
Give me team and individual goals.
Because to keep it real, Wake Forest wasn't good.
Right.
And
but they weren't bad.
I mean, I feel like they were
okay.
A cool year. Yeah,
it was
moments,
decent.
Runs.
It was close to 500.
Right.
But I'm just saying that to say with that on the table, like, are there team talks where like y'all thinking about like with the group y'all got now, what y'all could potentially do if y'all put in the work, or what's the goals? Yeah.
I definitely want to make a run in that ACC conference. I want to be one of the top teams in that league. Get to March. I mean, I've been to March both of my years, so I definitely want to get there my third year. But, I mean, individually, I want to just show everybody that I can score the ball. I mean, I feel like a lot of people see my defense and the things that I could do on that side, but I really want to show people my offensive side of the game on the national level for sure.
He got hurt this year, but how good can Chet be?
Oh, man. He can. I mean, they call him a unicorn. He can be really good.
Right.
Really good. He can do it all.
Yeah.
So, I feel like he'll definitely show it this next year when he gets healthy.
I hope so. They could have been good. They could have made it. I think
that OKC team, they're young, and they could be really good.
Yeah.
Sure.
What do you think about him versus Wembanyama? Like, I know he
Have you watched some tape of him?
Yeah, I've seen him. I've seen him, definitely.
I'm talking about a unicorn.
Yeah.
7'5".
I feel like their games are kind of similar. He's just a little bit bigger for sure. But they're both really good.
Yeah, there's no doubt
about
that.
Hey, who's the best player that you've ever played against in high school?
I say Jalen Green, probably. Jalen Green or a dude named DJ Stewart.
Yeah.
I played both of them at the USA camp.
Dang.
Yeah, because you played against some really good players.
You have.
AAU, right? Yeah.
I mean,
you guys were traveling.
McDonald's All-American here.
Yeah.
I just think about like how you didn't get that. You think about the game. I wish you could have played in the game.
Yeah.
And you got the shoes and the, like for real, man. Like you really put on for the city. There's more people for you than what you may understand, and I feel like for you, I think something I just want to say is it might seem like a little cloudy because you ain't been like who you can be to yourself. But like people cheering for you, man, they just waiting for you to do your thing.
Definitely.
Your DM's gonna get a lot longer once you start moving.
For sure, I'm knowing.
Hunter, we appreciate it. Good luck this year, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro. We appreciate you.
All right, now we are joined by, let's just call him a winner because he's won a ton of games. Former Bellevue West head basketball coach Doug Woodard joining us here. Over 600 wins and 40 years of coaching. What are you doing for yourself now, man, as a retiree?
Trying to stay out of my wife's way. And, no, I'm still involved with basketball, and I think I'll always be involved with basketball. I mean, it's a passion. It's something I love, so I don't think you can just stop and not do something. Hopefully, in this next phase, it'll be trying to help and assist, especially young coaches, in establishing a philosophy and how to create a culture and those type of things.
What's the capacity? You say you're still involved in basketball. Is it anything to do with like youth? Is it with West or what capacity?
Well, it's so I'm affiliated now with a group called Advisor Game Plan, and they do a lot in the area of business, culture creation, especially with just other type of business in the financial services area, stuff like that. And now it kind of branched out. I'm creating a curriculum for essentially creating a solid basketball program at a foundational and intermediate and an advanced level.
Makes sense.
So like what type of competencies do kids need to have at certain age levels, and then how to best teach those and integrate those with those, how to actually play, how to play the game, not just learn plays, but how to play the game and play off of other players.
You won the Coach of the Year award at the Omaha Sports Commission Awards. It was really cool, your speech. I thought one of the things that made me think the most about it was when you mentioned your wife. and you're gone a lot. Obviously, you're a coach. You're always into that, and she's the one kind of raising the family. How do you do that? How was that team developed in terms of your house team?
Well, it's hard. It's a juggling act, and this is one of the reasons, Michael, I think it's hard to get a lot of younger coaches into the game because of the time constraints that are inherent in coaching. It's very difficult, and it's a juggling act, and you have to have a partner that is all in and supports that, and even at that, then there can be frustrating times because. Quite honestly, you're missing certain things. You're not there for others, and so it's difficult. But I've been very fortunate to have a wife that is extremely, extremely supportive.
How many kids?
4 children and 13 grandchildren.
That's incredible. You had to retire just to spend time with your grandkids.
And that's part of it. Obviously, I'll have more time to invest in their activities and the things that they're doing growing up. And one of them, our oldest, is now a junior in college. So
wow.
He's at that phase now, but we have the youngest, I think, is just a couple months. So
okay. How many of the 13 grandkids are in the ranges of 3, 4, and 5 that play basketball and are boys?
Ages 3, 4, and 5?
Yeah. Any of them? I got a son, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
He's trying to get somebody to play his kid all the time.
Yes, I actually it would be 3 boys that would fall kind of in that category right there.
My son is lefty.
You're trying to be a hooper.
He's just like I try not to brag about him, man, but he's special. I'm not
How
gonna
old
lie.
is he?
4. Just turned 4. He's dominated the lead center already.
All right, well, we might have to get something going.
Yeah, we might have to talk about it. Yeah, for sure. So serious. Another conversation about it. But just kind of thinking about you, how did you even get into coaching? And when, because I know there's some players that, go into coaching. There's some coaches that never played. What was the route for you to get into it?
Well, when I played for Coach Johnette at Burke High School.
I know Coach Johnette is.
Great man. Yeah. And you know what? I guess I just fell in love with basketball. It was a process, maybe junior high-ish on up through high school, and I wanted to stay involved. And to do that, obviously, if you're going to coach, you have to also teach. You can't just coach, unless you're going to go the college route. But and so it just was kind of a organic thing that evolved, I think, over time, and I didn't know it'd be a 40-year deal, but but that's kind of how we got involved.
What was the first job? The first job wasn't Roncalli, was it?
No, Bellevue Christian private school, and then for 10 years, not all of which were high school. Roncalli for 6, and then
you won a state title there.
Correct.
Class B title.
Class B.
Yeah.
And then Bellevue West for 25.
That's 7 total titles.
Yes, sir.
So what was Bellevue?
I think maybe he's number 1.
Coach Barron's got 7 too.
In a shorter time period.
Yeah, but see,
we were just kind of going through all
winning. We were kind of talking about it.
Like
so I was telling him
Barron's.
that I think that I feel like for you, I felt like that you could potentially be we're in the culture of the GOAT type language now, I felt like that you were probably the greatest coach just because of the body of work and your longevity and how many, the young men that you have developed over the years that I see out in the community and things like that, they all act a certain way, and I can tell that they were products of you. Not the same for Barron's too, but I just feel like I've experienced that with Coach Barron's a lot, so biasly I can say that, but looking objectively from the outside, I admire the way that you have done it over the years. So I was telling him, if I can be unbiased, then I would say it was you. So I mean, just as someone who was a competitor against you, but also see the kids that have came from you, I commend you because they all kind of mirror your model. They all can tell me you have been the same over your 20 years with how you are. So I thought that you were the greatest, in my opinion.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Josh, and I don't say this hopefully out of false modesty. I don't even like, I guess, discussing that kind of stuff because I don't think of it that way. There's so many coaches that haven't had the fortune to coach so many great young men. They just haven't been in a situation and or to be at a place that really embraces success and excellence. And so to even I think, you know what, I've just tried to do a good job, tried to be fair with young men and tried to develop them as young people and we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Coach Woodard joining us here on Let It Fly show. So you have the 7 titles. What was the best team that didn't win a title? So I'm assuming you had some teams who you thought weren't your best team that did win a title. Things broke the right way.
Absolutely.
Then you had some that were maybe you thought were your best teams but didn't win one.
Well, it probably either 21, which would have been when Chucky and Frankie and those were seniors, or one of Antoine's teams that Josh beat.
Those teams were good twice
in overtime. And those games, think back, one of them, so in overtime, I believe it probably would have been 06. We started overtime with Antoine gets a 3-point play. And so we're up 3. And 2 possessions go empty, I think, both ways. Then Central comes down and Vondre Tostenson, who shot 20%.
20%, bro. To this day, we talk about how he can't shoot threes.
No, can't. He did then. Yeah. He was 2 for 2 in that game.
And if you watch the film, I'm like,
give me the ball.
Yes. Yes, and Coach Behrens was yelling at him to throw it to him. Yeah. And Coach's hands go up, I think, to his head when he shot it.
It's like, oh, no.
And we kind of go like this, and the ball goes in.
I mean, his defender let him shoot. We all thought he was going to miss it, all of us.
Wow.
Well, and, truthfully, things turn on those kind of things some years. We won the first one at Roncalli. We had a young man hit a 3 at the top of the key, Sean Conway. Now he was a decent shooter, but it was a pretty
thin line between missing a make
and whether it was really a good shot, time score, and everything. And he hits it, and we go on to win the thing. And so those things kind of turn on some unusual things sometimes.
No doubt.
Yeah, I was thinking about like all the years that you have coached, and I always wondered, like, who was your favorite players to coach? There's a lot of great players that come from Bellevue West, and I feel like, respectfully, I think everybody, like who watches this will, like, understand or accept or whatever, but, like, who would you say was your favorite player to coach in all of your years at Bellevue West specifically, and why?
It's like, who's your favorite kid?
Oh, boy.
This is wrong.
I can't. What I will say, one of the most enjoyable, I've had so many young men to coach, was a young man by the name of William Guthrie.
Okay.
And I only had him for 2 years. So my first 2 years, he was a junior-senior at West. The 2 years I was there, and we were fortunate enough to win a state championship 2000, his senior year. And then he went to Air Force Academy and has been very successful beyond that. But he was not a very good scorer. He was 6'2" and played post.
Oh, okay.
But he drew countless number of charges and countless number of offensive rebounds. And he was always up at practice, even though his role was not glamorous. I mean, drawing charges and getting offensive rebounds.
I wasn't doing it.
Not a lot anyway.
Yeah, right.
Smart kid, obviously smart kid going to Air Force, so he understood the game.
Understood
where
the
he
game.
needed to be.
He did. But his mental approach that I'm going to do what's necessary for the team to be successful, even if for me that's not, quote, what other folks see as glamorous or important stuff. I mean, it's very important stuff, but so I would say, and I'm not going to say he's my favorite. I got a lot of favorite kids, but
he's somebody that stands out.
He does, just because of that role and his mentality.
Yeah. I want to go back to that last game you coached. It's your last game. It's coming down to the end, undefeated season. How did you hold your emotions
Or
together?
did you know it was your last game?
Oh, yeah. I had told I had told the folks at West and at district office in January. I decided probably for sure, and I don't know, maybe November somewhere, and that. So actually, before we even started the season,
right.
I didn't say anything other than to my wife. I told the principal, the AD, and the superintendent, and asked if they'd be kind enough to, because usually when you announce that, at least the structure in Bellevue is that gets announced. You know, they go through the board process, and that gets announced the first Tuesday or Monday, whatever it is, in March. Well, if it gets announced then, it's right before the state tournament.
Right.
And I said, this doesn't need to be any type of a focus, you know, for the kids. The focus needs to be on them.
Sure.
Right.
And they were kind enough to, you know, to just, they wouldn't announce it till April. And so, yeah, I knew. And it was hard. There was some pretty powerful emotions at times.
Yeah.
But again, my feeling was it's the kids. It's not, you know, I mean, this game's going to go on, and no matter if I'm there or none of us are bigger than the game. And,
right.
And so just let the game be played and try to keep the focus there.
Yeah, what kept you going every single year? Like kind of like each year will be a different year all the way until this last year. Like, how did you last so long? Like, what was your motivation?
You know, what I try to tell young coaches is I think you have to put it in the rearview mirror really quickly. If it was a bad ending or if it was the best ending that you can have, that once that's there, you know, 48 hours or so, and then you got to be focused on the next deal because that doesn't matter. It's done.
Yeah.
And the ability to put whether it's success or failure quickly behind you and then get focused on that next, in this case, that next team, and get your vision there. I think, however, just recognizing that and being able to develop that ability is critical to being able. Otherwise, you either dwell on a success too long or dwell on a failure too long. That can eat you up or get your focus off if you're dwelling on the success too long to what the deal is. You got something else in front of you, and those young men deserve your best efforts.
Yeah. Ted Lasso's show, he says be a goldfish because they have very short memories.
Yes.
So whether it's good or bad.
I even know goldfish had a memory.
They have very, very short memories. What kind of football coach were you?
By the way, goldfish may not think we have memories.
That is true.
But, I loved the offensive part of football in terms of trying to spread people out and create mismatches. So I mean, I wasn't more of an offensive coach.
Sure, it's the fun part.
Wise, it is, and I loved the strategy of football. It got to be a grind, coaching 2 seasons like that in a row, and then with how stuff has become so important off-season wise, I don't think it's a wise combination anymore, to be honest with you, especially if you're a head coach. I just don't think you could probably do it and do justice to what you need to do to get those kids that don't play football, you know, and are more basketball centric to be honest with and get them prepared.
When I covered Eddie Robinson at Grambling at the end of his career, when he started at Grambling, he was the football coach, the basketball coach, the baseball coach, the track coach, and the athletic director.
Wow. Yeah, right.
Constantly coaching.
That's a legend right there.
That's unbelievable.
It is absolutely nuts.
Why haven't you ever thought about going to coach college?
You know, I did a couple times. But Josh, I think if you're going to coach college and really do it, I think you have to be willing to go wherever that something presents itself.
Makes sense.
And because of the family dynamic, I just wasn't going to do that. I felt, you know, unless something right here would present itself, I wasn't willing to get on kind of that merry-go-round and chase that.
Right.
I've got a lot of admiration for guys that do, because a lot of them, I mean, they pay a lot of dues. You start as a grad assistant, and you might be 6 different cities in 10 years or something. I just never appealed to me.
Coach Doug Woodard joining us here, former head basketball coach at Bellevue West. You mentioned something earlier about helping young coaches. If you were going to give a piece of advice to a coach just getting in the business, what would you tell him?
I think kind of what I said. I said earlier that I think it's
memory for getting in.
Yes, and don't ever get enamored with ourselves and think that the success that we're experiencing is because of some wisdom that's peculiar to us. Because there's a lot of really good coaches, and we're all dependent on players.
Right.
And we're dependent on their families, and we're dependent on the community that surrounds, having a good athletic director, having a supportive system underneath you. We're not going to succeed in this because we're really, really smart.
Sure.
We're just not. And
that makes sense.
And so learn everything you can, appreciate everyone that helps you along the way. But don't ever get, if you have some success, you know what? Appreciate it and move on.
Does undefeated mean greatest? Like this undefeated team, would you say they're the best team that you coach at West? Or how do you wager that versus what's the best team you ever had?
Josh Dotzler's sitting right now waiting for this answer.
Hey, and
he knows it. He
said we lost one game.
Because his buddy.
And who he lose it to?
His buddy Mike Jenkins was in the locker room, of course, because Mike still helps us or helped us.
Yeah.
And so afterwards, because the kids have been going back and forth with him as the season went on.
Yeah, he did that.
They've been going back and forth. And so Mike, said something, because one of the kids said, best West team ever or something like that. We're in the locker room, and Mike said, no. And so I interrupted, and I said, all I know is this team was 29-0.
Yeah.
You guys weren't Mike.
Right.
And so everybody, of course.
Yeah.
I had a lot of audience that appreciated that there, and Mike didn't. With Josh. Right. But there's so many factors. The level of competition in a given year might be different than the level in another year.
Right.
There's just too many factors to say. Obviously, the fact that they went undefeated.
It's hard to do.
Oh,
yeah.
It is.
The game's even changed.
Yeah.
In 17, 18 years, I mean, I don't know how many threes your teams were shooting back then, but it's probably triple now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the game is just really
they shot
changed.
a lot even when I played.
Yeah.
But I think it's more now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also I can understand that statement because, Central has an undefeated team too.
Correct.
And I kind of felt like Mike Jenkins, not for saying that like the team that I was on was better, but like from a matchup perspective, like I can see some of the guys on that undefeated team that could trump some of our guys, but at the end of the day, they were undefeated.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
and I would say I think this was overall our best defensive team that we had.
for sure. Nobody can do anything.
Right. And they really, really good defensively. But overall, if they were in a series with Josh's team or even
Chucky's team,
right? I don't know. I could not bet against.
I got
the
another
other
one
two.
for him.
all right, one more.
Point guards. Who are the or no? I don't want to say point guards. Top 5 best players to come out of Bellevue West High School since you've coached.
So obviously Eric's not in that mix. Eric Strickland.
Yeah. Let's add him
Since
in
you've
there.
been there,
Oh well, he's got to be.
Yeah.
Obvious. I mean, he's a what?
2-sport athlete too. He's a really good football player.
Baseball
too. Yep.
I mean, phenomenal athlete. Eric would have to be the top.
The top.
I mean, nobody else has played whatever he played 8 years in the NBA.
I know.
So and he wasn't
drafted into baseball and even got to try out Nebraska football trying to see if he could play.
Probably had he been maybe focused on one sport, especially even maybe post college, he probably could have been professional in any of those 3 sports.
Wow.
I mean, the one you question the most probably would be baseball because you don't know how well somebody's going to hit.
It's hard,
exactly.
You know, but just a tremendous athlete. Eric's got to be, got to be the top of the list. And then tied for second, you'd have to say Josh and Antoine and Chucky and Josiah. And then, I mean, Mike himself.
Yeah, Mike was really good. Mike was really good.
Very underrated.
Yeah, I think so.
And just a tremendous player. And Malik Kaluchawecki. I mean, we've been blessed, obviously.
Look, he's another good talent.
That year, I feel like he just decided to be the best player in the state for a week.
Yeah,
like
2014.
I didn't think y'all was going to win, and he just started being better.
Westside was a better team than us that year for the balance of the year. There's no question. I mean, they beat us by, I think, 28.
28. I remember I was there.
Yeah. You were there?
I was there. Yeah.
We needed you.
Coach, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. Congratulations on an amazing career.
Thank you.
Winning Coach of the Year and getting to retirement.
Appreciate
happy
it,
retirement.
Thanks, Coach.
Have a good one. Take care, guys.
All right, we want to thank our guests on this episode, Hunter Sallis, who joined us, and, of course, Coach Woodard as well. You know, Coach Woodard, we didn't get to it, but he's one of the few coaches that actually had a fake Twitter account out there.
What?
He had fake Doug Woodard, who was a very funny guy.
Yeah.
Or woman, whoever was doing the account was very funny. And if you ever talked about the team, he would always jump in there.
Oh,
he was pretty funny. He was pretty good.
That. That's when you know you made it.
When you made it, when you got a fake account, you got a parody account. We want to thank both of them for coming on with us as well. Of course, our executive producer,
Phil McClain.
He's the executive producer.
My guy.
The producer that actually does a lot of work, though.
Yeah, I should have said it with more hype, though.
Yeah, that's right.
Phil McClain.
Yeah, Phil McClain. And then, of course, Pat Safford, who does putting the show together. We appreciate it. As always, Omaha Steaks is a great gift. I want to remind you again, June 16th. Yep. We'll be there. We want you there as well. The opening of the Let It Fly Sports Bar down in the Capital District. Yep. So, as always, Josh, take us away.
Yo, when it comes to that sports bar, don't meet us there, beat us there. It's your boy, Josh Jones, on behalf of my man, Michael Severe. You know how we do it. It's a Let It Fly show.